Hello, dear ones, and welcome to our R&R this evening, our rest and reset. I have the next 30 minutes together. You'll definitely want to bolster and at least a couple of blankets, perhaps even a block, which will really just create some access points for things. We're not going to go heavy into props today, but it is helpful to just let yourself be supported. This week at the studio, we've really been exploring tapasya, which is really this act of self-disciplined and dedicated work to the process of self-realization. And I think, especially in our culture and in the world, we tend to think, when we think of like self-discipline, when we think of dedication, we think of working hard. We think of having to do more is more situation. And I think there's an invitation to really come back to simplicity as well, to really actually let some things fall away and to hone in ways that we might not expect when we're just coming from the mind. And so today will really be an invitation to come back to the breath, even something as simple as coming back to the intention and presence with the breath and with the body. Can be deeply powerful and can actually create this container for that self-realization to really unfold with a lot less doing than we think might be needed. And that our mind tends to think we need really extravagant strategies for things, but actually self-discipline and dedication is as simple as coming back into our breath, is as simple as giving ourselves the space to be with our bodies. And so this particular practice is really perfect for that, and is a necessary space of balance to all of the production and achieving and doing that we might find. So let us begin on our mats today. And we're going to begin in a supported bridge today. And there's a couple different ways that you can do that. I'm going to use the bolster today. You can also use a folded blanket or a pillow if you don't have a bolster. And I find it easiest to go ahead and set the bolster up short ways across the middle of the mat, and then come to seated on the mat, or on the bolster, excuse me. And kind of letting yourself, let the hip bone shift towards the back of your mat, the back of the prop. And then gently begin to prop yourself up behind the hips. Shift the tailbone down even further so that almost the glutes are coming off the bottom of the bolster. And then gently lowering yourself down. Once the back and spine connect to the mat, I invite you to pick up each of the shoulders, slide the shoulder blade down the back, and just really open through the chest and the heart. Give some spaciousness to the neck and the spine. Taking the opportunity to shift any final maneuvers to really find comfort in this posture. And then take a big full breath in and a big sigh of release as you begin to settle in here. With each inhale, inviting the breath deep and full. With each exhale, settling deeper as you begin to soften and let go of the breath. It can seem like this very simple and minute process of coming back to the breath, to the body. In truth, what we're really doing in that process is coming back into the present moment. Giving ourselves permission to arrive fully right here, right now, right where we are. And though our habits and patterns and mind chatter might have us want to fill this moment with something seemingly bigger, with more activity, with more stuff. Actually, there's a profound power in simply being present where we are, to be in this breath, to be in this heartbeat. So give yourself permission to experience, to soften, to let go, to surrender into this very moment. Letting the breath flow in and the breath flow out. Just noticing how it feels to breathe and be in your body right here and now. Finding 5 more rounds of breath here. And as you find your final exhale, fluttering the eyes open, and you have 2 options for coming out of this posture. You can either gently begin to prop your torso back up, staying seated on the bolster, or you can come into a little bridge, so lift the hips towards the sky. Just gently slide the bolster out from underneath the hips, bringing the hips back to the mat. And then you can either hug the knees in and rock and roll, or just hug the knees in and come over to a side and just gently finding your way back up to seated. And as we come to seated, we're just going to come to a gentle cross-legged position. And as we begin, I invite you to just move the flesh out from underneath the sits bones. Get really rooted on the mat. Grow tall through the spine. Inhale, bring the tops of the shoulders up to the ears and then down the back. And then bring the tops of the shoulders around the back up to the ears and down the front as we begin. I invite you to extend the legs out in front of you, just giving a gentle rock through the knees. And then bring the right foot to plant inside the left leg. Inhale, grow tall through the spine. Exhale, twist to the right. You can either hug that right leg in or bring the left arm on top of the right knee to leverage yourself out. And really feel the breath fully into the belly. Letting the torso open and expand. Finding a sense of fullness. The next exhale, coming back through center. Extending right leg, bringing left foot to plant. Inhale, grow tall through the spine. Exhale, twist to the left. Dropping the shoulders away from the ears. Softening through the jaw. Take your next exhale, coming back to center. You may want to block handy for our next part of our flow. So we're going to let the left leg come as if we're coming into a cross-legged position, but rather than tucking that heel in towards the hips, we're going to let that lower left leg go parallel to the front edge of our mat. So it's essentially just going to come to a square. And then we're going to stack the right ankle on top of left knee, right knee on top of left ankle. Flexing through both the feet to keep the integrity of the foot. Sometimes if we don't do that, our feet will kind of have a tendency to sickle out of alignment. So keep a flex in both the feet. And then begin to notice the distance from the bottom of the right knee down to the ground. Are you actually making contact with that lower foot? If so, you're probably fine. If not, you may want to block to help support. And if you have any instability in the knee or the ankle, particularly the lower one, you may want to extend the lower leg to just give yourself a little extra space. So a couple options there. If you're fine with that double stack, I invite you to inhale, grow tall through the spine as you exhale, twisting again to the right. Once you find your depth here, we're going to extend right fingertips up overhead and bend over the left leg. Softening through the left shoulder. Inhale to build with the breath. Exhale, gently sweeping the right hand down to right foot, billowing or starting to round through the shoulders as you bring the spine back into alignment. Inhale, grow tall. Exhale, we're going to fold forward, beginning to crawl the fingers out in front of us, coming into a forward fold. Really tapping in to that right hip and right outer glutes, the IT bands. Taking one more inhale to fill with the breath. And as you exhale, gently bringing the torso up as you walk the fingers back in. We're going to extend right leg in front and then extend left leg in front, rocking through the knees. And then we're going to bring the right leg on the bottom, stacking left leg on top. Feeling free to shift and using the block if need be. Feeling free to extend through that lower right leg if you need some added spaciousness or an adjustment for the knees and the hips. Flexing through both the feet. Inhale, grow tall through the spine. Exhale, twist to the left. Finding your depth first, really letting the heart and the chest come forward, then extending left fingertips up overhead, reaching as you arc through the left side body. More inhale to reach with the top fingers, and as you exhale, sweeping left hand down to left foot, rounding through the shoulders. Inhale, grow tall through the spine. Exhale, folding forward, perhaps crawling out with the fingers. Noticing the quality and the length and the breadth of the breath. With your next exhale, coming back up to seated. Extending left leg and then right leg. Rocking through the knees. And then we're gonna come down to our backs, but before we do that, I wanna make sure that we have any props that we might need for Shavasana handy. So oftentimes a bolster can be really nice to have handy. Oftentimes having some blankets around can be handy as well. So I'm gonna invite, if you want, you can bring a folded blanket towards the top of your mat to help support the head and the neck. And you've got the other one if you want to use it as kind of a cozy situation to help bring warmth. You can have a folded blanket over the hips to help add some weight there as well. But as you're ready, I invite you to bring the hips to the center of your mat, gently lowering down onto the back. Feeling free to adjust that top blanket as needed. Lifting up each of the shoulder blades, sliding the shoulder down the back, maybe opening through the chest and the heart. And then inviting the knees to come into the chest. Gonna give a little gentle rock from side to side here, just feeling that sacrum, that low back press and massage into the mat. Taking a big full breath in and a big sigh of release. Then bringing the knees towards the armpits, opening into a happy baby, or any other final postures that would really serve you here. We're gonna go in deep for a guided Shavasana. And so feel free to do what you need in order to create a space in which you can really surrender. So if instead you might need a supine twist or stretch of the arms, take what you need here. Finding 3 more deep, full breaths. And hugging the knees into the chest. And as needed, inviting any props. You want to bring that bolster underneath the knees. Checking in with those shoulder blades, really letting the heart open. Letting the legs go long and the feet splay open. Letting the hands go wide at your side, palms open to the sky. Taking one more deep, full breath in and a final sigh of release. And then releasing the conscious efforting of the breath in the body. Just give yourself permission to be here. To be in your body, to be in this breath, to be in this heartbeat, in this moment, in this place. And to let yourself know and trust, even if the mind can't always be in full embrace of this. To know and trust and remember that you're exactly where you need to be. And that everything you need is within you now or within your reach. And so as we breathe and come to find presence in our bodies, in our breath, to say yes to the discipline of showing up as we are, right where we are. We come to find resource and support, even as the mind often thinks there's not enough. And breath by breath, heartbeat by heartbeat, we embrace the practice of being who we are, of being in that expression while also being witness to it. And in so doing, we come to remember and know and receive that we matter. That just in our very being, this breath matters, this heartbeat matters. This body, this breath matters. And so as we go into the silence of our Shavasana, let yourself just be present with that knowing, to have the space to receive, to breathe, to be. Once again, I invite you to connect to the wave of your breath, the rhythm and the presence of your heartbeat, demonstrating that devotion, coming back to the present moment as you are. And with so much ease and gentleness, beginning to wiggle through the fingers and toes, maybe rolling through the wrists and the ankles. Taking one more big, full inhale. And as you exhale, hugging the knees into the chest. Once again, rocking from side to side, feeling that sacrum rooted to the earth. Eventually allowing yourself to fall over to a side of your choice. Pausing there. Breathing in this yogic posture of rebirth. And just here that we are reminded that we begin again in every breath with choice, with sovereignty, with wholeness. Your next breath, inviting yourself back up to seated in whatever way serves you, bringing the palms to connect in front of the heart. Left palm in union with right palm. Slight tuck of the chin as you bow towards your heart. Letting yourself be fully resourced in your heart center, in your body, in your breath. Namaste in its simplest form means the light in me honors and acknowledges the light in you. Bringing thumbs to third eye center and bowing forward to seal the practice. Namaste.